Although pay increases at the JSE companies are shrinking and remuneration packages are being restructured, the wage gap between the lowest and highest paid executives is widening, according to the 5th edition on executive remuneration by professional services firm PricewaterhouseCoopers this week. The contributing factor is that new entrants have fewer skills and are less educated, leaving a need for more training for executives.
I think the first thing that this report indicated was that there's definitely some level of restraint in terms of the level of pay. That implies that it's obviously lower than the inflationary percentages. However, we do think that it's not quite at the same pace with the level that we expected. There has been over the last couple of years in terms of a change to almost a 2/3 variable pay now, and particularly if we're talking about at the exec level. Not a bad thing, but I think what it is creating a lot of volatility and a lot of uncertainty in terms of it. So what we are seeing is a little bit of a change in terms of executives, equally shareholders, looking for a little bit cutback in terms of pay, looking for and less volatility in the variable pay. An executive is now receiving the underlying company share. There's no gearing in terms of that share. It's not an option. So in order for that share to vest, will be dependent then on certain company performance and other performance metrics. So over time he will receive dividends, but equally over time he will then vest in those shares will vest in him.
What we're seeing is that executive pay has become, the increases at least, have become more reasonable. We saw last year about a 7.6, according to Stats SA, according to Andrew Levy, about 7.7% increase. And it looks like the median exec got about 4%, the year before about 8%. So it's become a lot less in the increases. Unfortunately, it doesn't bring the ratios, the wage gap down as such, but I think there's a bigger realization that everything is not about just money. And the other thing that's very interesting is that between a decade ago and now, seemingly, is that the guaranteed pay as a percentage of the package has come down a lot, and the variable pay has become a lot more. So where you had 60-70% guaranteed pay, you've now got 30% guaranteed pay, and the variable pay can be then twice as much your guaranteed package. Giving people more incentives is right, but one must be careful because the guy at the bottom is using a large part of his money to survive. So perhaps what we should do is then say, right, we need to have a 10 or 20% variable pay where you can actually lose that money if the company doesn't perform to the guy at the bottom. But the guy in the top, giving him 60% variable pay makes a lot more sense. You can't give 60% variable pay to the guy at the bottom. But the guy at the bottom must also, when it's a win, be able to cash in.
Pay gap is really, to me, is a measure of internal equity. Once we know what that is, how do we make sure we maintain it or improve it? So I can't say whether if a pay gap in South Africa is 50 times, that's good by global standards. To me, the inputs are just too variable, and there are too many other factors that do come into play that can affect the pay gap, such as poor government service delivery, education, etc. So there's just too many other things. Well, it was interesting in this report that we have seen a drop in the number of execs, but that was largely attributable to the whole definition around prescribed office in terms of the Companies Act. So there's many corporates who have taken a more conservative view, if you like, or definition of prescribed officer, resulting in few executive directors having to be disclosed in their annual reports. The idea is that if you're going to influence behaviour, more disclosure or better disclosure doesn't change levels of pay. What we are looking at is more, particularly around the variable pay, is reconciling variable pay with company performance vis-a-vis the shareholders' return, and that then requires a better way of reporting remuneration vis-a-vis particularly variable pay.
We are looking at a world where I think there's going to be a lot more scrutiny on executive pay. I don't think it was ever not under scrutiny, but I think the political pressure is going to become more. We see it all around the world, and South Africa is no different. But we are looking at a different type of model of executive pay, where at least some of the pay for the work he's done now is going to be paid 2-3 years hence.